Janice, thank you. On Close-Up this morning, the Cosby trial. Autumn Jackson entered court yesterday hoping for the best, but instead she received the worst. A jury found Miss Jackson guilty of conspiring to extort millions from the man she claims is her father, actor Bill Cosby. Now she faces huge fines and up to 12 years in prison. David Henkel and Deborah Hyman were members of that jury, and they join us this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
Autumn Jackson, through her lawyer, had argued that what she was engaged in here was legal negotiations based upon her genuine belief that Bill Cosby was her father. Why did the jury not accept that argument, Deborah?
Really, it was on the basis of the evidence that we had. There was just so much evidence there that we really felt it was insurmountable.
Although the judge said to you that in a strictly legal sense, whether Bill Cosby was her father or not was irrelevant here, she had argued that that's what she believed. Did you, David, did the jury believe that she truly believed that?
We really didn't think about that. We looked at her state of mind. The judge said we could look at her state of mind as the only factor in the paternity side of the case, but we weighed the evidence, and her actions all along the timeline were just so insurmountable that, as Deborah said, there was just so much evidence against the fact that she felt that way, that her actions just spoke louder than the way she was feeling at the time.
As you sit here today, and understanding that the judge said during your deliberations you didn't need to decide whether Bill Cosby was her father or not. As you sit here today looking back on it, do you believe that the testimony introduced in the courtroom, Deborah, let me ask you this first, did in fact disclose that Bill Cosby was her father?
No, there really wasn't any allusion to that. They discussed the fact that her grandmother and her mother had told her as a very small child that she was Bill Cosby's child, but they never introduced any fact that that was the case. And Bill Cosby did admit that he had had an affair with Sean Thompson. But beyond that, there was really no discussion about a paternity issue. It was really on how to extort. That was what the evidence was the physical method of extortion.
How about the fact that one of these demands was faxed to Bill Cosby's representatives the day that his son was murdered? Did that enter into your decision-making at all here, David?
We discussed the fact that she had talked to Jack Schmidt that morning, which was the 16th, and she had expressed just disbelief that no one had told her that her brother had been killed. That was a discussion with Jack Schmidt, but then yet they carried out all their other threats later that morning, and then on the 18th when they flew to New York, there was no discussion on Innis at all in the evidence after the 16th.
Plus, she raised her price with the Globe after Ennis's death. She felt her story was then more valuable, and her concern was strictly with herself and not about her alleged father and the pain that he would be going through at the time.
Last question for you both. The jurors know more about this case than anybody else, obviously having sat through it. Do you think that Autumn Jackson should go to jail for what she did, David?
I didn't have an opinion at the time. I think she should serve some maybe probationary period, but we really didn't think about that during the trial at all.
Deborah, what do you think now?
We were instructed, and I'm still a juror now, we were instructed not to consider sympathy, and we were told not to consider the penalties as a result of it. Justice, we feel, was achieved, and the judge is now in charge of that.
All right. David Henkel, Deborah Hyman, thank you both for joining us this
Thank you,
morning. We're coming up now in 11 minutes after the hour.